Long before clocks existed, humans watched the dead return to memory. A grave marked a person's absence. A ritual marked their continued presence. And eventually, dates became part of remembrance. That sounds strangely modern, but ancient people were already organizing memory through time. They watched the moon, they watched the sun, they watched seasons change, and they watched certain days return. Why would death need a calendar? The answer begins with a simple human problem. Memory fades. Even strong memories become blurred across generations. Rituals slow that fading. Dates make rituals repeatable. And repetition turns private grief into shared tradition. The earliest calendars were not office planners. They were ways of ordering a world without clocks. Months could follow the moon. Years could follow the sun. Seasons could follow planting and harvest. Festivals could follow sacred events. And some of those events concerned the dead. Archaeologists see hints of this relationship everywhere. At ancient burial sites, people repeatedly returned to special places. They brought food. They brought objects. They gathered together. They remembered names. Sometimes, they rebuilt the same ritual. Sometimes, they returned at particular times. That changed death into something cyclical. The person was gone. But remembrance could return. The sky provided the most obvious cycle. Every night, darkness returned. Every month, the moon changed. Every year, the seasons returned. Nature was constantly demonstrating repetition. Humans noticed. Then humans started assigning meaning. The dead could become connected to those returning cycles. A person died once. But their memory could come back every year. This distinction matters. A calendar does not preserve a body. It preserves an appointment with memory. One ancient example comes from Rome. Roman society had formal days for honoring ancestors. The Parentalia lasted from February 13th to 21st. The festival was associated with deceased family members. Families visited tombs. Offerings were made. The dead were remembered collectively. The calendar created a predictable reunion between generations. That is a powerful idea. Death separated people physically. The calendar reunited them symbolically. But Rome was not unique. Across cultures, time became connected with ancestry. In ancient Mesoamerica, calendars were deeply ritual. The Maya inherited sophisticated systems of counting time. Their dates recorded ceremonies, rulers, events, and cosmic cycles. The British Museum describes Mesoamerican calendars as systems coordinating major social activities. One ritual calendar contained 260 days. A solar calendar contained about 365. Together, they formed a 52-year calendar round. Time was not simply passing. Time was doing something. Dates could carry ritual meaning. Dates could identify ceremonies. Dates could locate people inside a sacred history. And ancestors could occupy that history. At Monte Alban, Zapotec tombs contained ancestor imagery. Some funerary urns represented revered ancestors. Some even carried signs linked to the 260-day ritual calendar. Those tombs were revisited across generations. Offerings were brought back. Incense was burned. The dead remained socially present. Now the mystery becomes larger. Why attach memory to astronomy at all? Because the sky gives memory structure. A dead person has no obvious anniversary in nature. But the sun rises predictably. The moon returns predictably. The seasons return predictably. Nature provides the clock. Human culture provides the meaning. This combination is incredibly powerful. Imagine losing someone in a prehistoric community. There are no photographs. There are no recordings. There may be no writing. Your memories live inside people. But people die too. So how does a community remember? It repeats something. A meal. A journey. A ceremony. A visit. A song. A date. Each repetition becomes a thread between generations. This may explain why memorial traditions become surprisingly precise. A date tells everyone when to remember. A location tells them where. A ritual tells them how. And a story tells them why. That combination creates cultural memory. It also creates social memory. The dead become part of group identity. Ancestors can become founders. Founders can become symbols. Symbols can become traditions. Traditions can become institutions. And institutions can last for centuries. Stonehenge offers a fascinating case. Archaeologist Timothy Darvill argued in 2022 that Stonehenge may encode a solar calendar. His proposed system tracks a year of 365.25 days. He connected its architecture with solar cycles. He also argued that such timekeeping could regularize ceremonies. But there is an important warning. The interpretation is debated. In 2023, Giulio Magli and Juan Antonio Belmonte challenged Darvill's proposal. They argued that the calendar interpretation relied too heavily on numerology and unsupported analogies. So Stonehenge does not give us a simple answer. It gives us something more interesting. It shows how seriously prehistoric people may have treated time. Stonehenge was not just a pile of stones. Its builders aligned monumental architecture with the landscape. They built around powerful solar positions. They created spaces for collective movement. They created places where memory could become physical. And burial happened in that wider landscape too. Researchers studying for prehistoric burials near Stonehenge found varied origins. Some individuals may have traveled from far away. Yet their burials shared important patterns. The landscape appears to have connected people across distance. That makes the calendar question even stranger. A monument can organize sunlight. A grave can organize memory. A festival can organize a community. Put them together, and time becomes social architecture. The calendar tells people when to gather. The monument tells them where. The ritual tells them what to do. The ancestor tells them who they are. That is more than measurement. That is identity. And it may explain something about civilization itself. Civilization requires coordination. Farming requires knowing seasons. Trade requires knowing schedules. Governments require deadlines. Religions require festivals. Communities require shared memories. Calendars can coordinate all of them. But calendars also do something emotional. They make absence predictable. That sounds strange. Yet predictable absence can be easier to carry. A person will not return. But the remembrance can. Every year. Every generation. Every ritual cycle. A birthday does something similar. So does an anniversary. So does a holiday. The date becomes a small doorway into the past. For ancient people, that doorway could connect the living and dead. And once communities began writing dates down, memory became harder to erase. Writing could record a name. A calendar could record when to remember it. Together, they created durable cultural memory. This is why calendars became more than astronomy. They became machines for coordinating attention. They told thousands of people to look in the same direction. They told them when to gather. They told them what mattered. And sometimes, they told them who still mattered. That is why ancient calendars can feel strangely alive. They were never merely numbers. They were agreements between generations. The living inherited dates from the dead. Then they passed those dates onward. A calendar could outlive the person it remembered. A ritual could outlive the person who created it. A monument could outlive everyone who touched it. And eventually, nobody alive would know the original builders. Yet the cycle could continue. Think about what that means. Humans invented systems that survive their inventors. We call that civilization. But underneath it is something simpler. We hate losing people completely. So we build patterns against forgetting. We carve names into stone. We tell stories around fires. We revisit graves. We mark anniversaries. We create holidays. We watch the same sunrise. We return on the same date. The calendar becomes a promise. Not a promise that the dead will return. A promise that someone will remember. And perhaps that is the deepest reason calendars became sacred. Time normally destroys everything. Calendars push back. They do not stop time. They make time carry memory. That changes the meaning of a year. A year is no longer just another orbit. It becomes another chance to remember. Another chance to gather. Another chance to tell the same story. And another chance to keep someone present. The dead cannot speak. But dates can. The dead cannot return. But rituals can. The dead cannot change the future. But their memory can. That may be why humans became obsessed with keeping time. We were never only counting days. We were deciding what deserved to survive them.